So we all, as fish keepers, want that crystal clear water and the look as if the fish are floating in midair. So if you're currently dealing with a murky, hold on. Crystal clear water by Tank TV. That should do it. That's better. A murky tank and you haven't got that crystal clear or gin clear water, combine these 5 top tips together and I promise we'll get you there. Now remember, perfectly clear water does not mean you have good water parameters or good quality water, but put these 5 practices into place and I promise you I will deliver the crystal clear water that we all so badly want as fish keepers. So tip number 1 is something that gets overlooked so often in this hobby, and that's keeping an eye on your nitrate and phosphate levels. Now, even though we can't see it, there is floating algae within our fish tank, and the nitrate and phosphate is a food source for this algae to bloom and develop. So dealing with nitrate and phosphate in the tank is pretty simple, and you can do it through 2 main ways, and that's water changes or chemical filtration. Now, unless you've got plants, it'd be a good idea to keep the nitrate and phosphate at a complete 0. So what that starts to do is it will remove the nitrate and phosphate from the tank. One, not only being better and more healthy for your fish, but we start to starve the algae of its food source. So the quickest and immediate way to remove nitrate from the fish tank is just doing large water changes. Now remember, sometimes we have nitrate in our water that comes out of the tap. So even though we're doing a water change to remove the nitrate, we may just be putting nitrate back in. So that's when we move over to chemical filtration. So using something like Countryside sea-free resin, which I absolutely swear by, it basically goes into your filter, your canister filter or your sump, and that will remove all the nitrate from your water column. Now, an added benefit with Countryside sea-free resin is it also removes the tannins out of the tank. Now, we've got tannins in our tap water. If you've got logs or any type of wood in your tank, it's going to be giving off tannins. So there's pretty much tannins in our tank all the time, which has a massive effect on clarity. So Countryside sea-free resin will also remove that from your tank. Moving on to the phosphate, something like Chem Phosguard again will remove all that. So you're using the chemical filtration to remove the nitrate and the phosphate from the tank. Now going back to when we were saying about water changes and the water coming from our taps with nitrate, you can use or you can get yourself a nitrate canister. So you're now covering all aspects of nitrate and phosphate management. You're doing big water changes and the water that's going into the tank is going in at 0 nitrate because you're running it through the canister. You've got the chemical filtration that's dealing with the nitrate and phosphate. So your tank is now running at a nice big 0 on both. 0. Get in. Starving that algae, your tannins has been removed and you're already halfway to that crystal clear water. So tip number 2, and we're staying with the algae control, and that's using UV sterilizers. Now with an added benefit, a UV sterilizer will also kill off any sort of nasty pathogens that we don't want in the tank. Things like white spot and stuff like that.
Look what you've done! I'm melting!
Now UV sterilizers are easy enough to set up, and I always recommend putting them on or setting them up on their own closed loop system. So what that means is you just take a look at the box of the UV sterilizer and find one that deals with the volume of your tank. Now the reason I say to put it on a closed loop system is it means you are in control of that flow rate. So to make sure the UV bulb is doing its job and dealing with the algae that's in the water, you want to turn your tank over once per hour. So easy maths in a quick example, if you've got a 200 litre tank, find yourself a UV bulb that can deal with 200 litres and get yourself a pump that does around 200 to 250 litres per hour. Now what this also means is because you're in control of the flow rate through the UV, you are making sure that it's doing its job properly and the contact time of the water with the UV bulb is doing what it needs to do. And then in the long run, it just means you're not overdoing it on the UV sterilisation. And tip number 3, which is the final blow of dealing with that algae in the water column, and that's keeping on top and control of our lighting. Again, lighting is a food source for algae in our water column. So going back to tip 1, after we've dealt with the nitrate and the phosphate, now controlling our lights, we're going to completely eradicate the food source for the algae in the water. So 3 easy things that you can do with lighting. Number 1 is just dimming down the lights if you've got a controller to do so, just so you're reducing the power rating in the water. Number 2, reducing the lighting time. Now, unless you've got plants or coral, which is going to need about 8 to 10 hours per day, bring it right down to around 4 to 8 hours. Or number 3, just turn them lights off completely. Mummy. Now, if you're dealing with a water column or a tank that is completely luminous green, blacking out the tank for 3 or 4 days and then coming back and turning the lights on will clear up that algae in the water and give you some nice clear water. Now, if you're dealing with small particles or what looks like dust, flying around your water column, then tip number 4 is going to be this stuff, which is filter floss. Now, I absolutely swear by this stuff, and it's this filter floss that's going to fine tune your water, completely eradicating it of any small particles or any dust. Now, the sponges that we use in our canister filters or in our sumps won't collect up them small bits, so that's what the filter floss will do and remove from the tank. Like I said, I swear by this stuff, and it goes in every single tank of mine and every single customer's. Get into the habit of using it on a daily basis, replacing it and keeping it in your filters. Commit to it and make it a part of your life and filtration. Create a future with it so you're using it for the rest of your fish keeping career. And I can guarantee you it will change your life and your tank clarity forever. So tip number 5, and it's probably one of the most overlooked tips in achieving crystal clear water, and that is using a wave maker. Reason being is it's going to put tip 1 through till 4 into full effect as it circulates the water in our tank and the entire water column to go through tip 1 and 4 at its maximum efficiency. So it puts it through the chemical filtration, it puts it through the filter floss, it puts it through the UV sterilizer, maximizing everything you're doing to achieve crystal clear water. What you're then doing is you're getting all that water turned around within the tank and getting it going through tip 1 through till 4. Now, the added benefit is if you're dealing with any type of organic matter, biofilm or leftover food sitting on your water surface, face it up at the top, and what that will do is it will pull it down into the water column. So what that now means is it's circulating around the tank and being pulled into the filtration and then getting caught up in that amazing floss that we've got in the filter. You know, that floss that I briefly mentioned earlier that I don't have an obsession with. So 5 easy tips that if you combine them all together, I promise will give you that crystal clear water and make our fish tanks the talk of the party that we all so badly desire. No, it won't. Maybe not, but you will be loving it. So guys, there's the tips for you there, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you've got something at home that you're using on your aquarium, leave the tips in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. And if you want to take your water to the next level of clarity, your maintenance is going to be absolutely essential. So go take a look at this video here and it will give you some tips and tricks on your maintenance, and I guarantee you it will give you that look where the fish are floating in midair.